Now we're beginning a new Dvar Malchut, huh? A speech given by the Rebbe also in 19, here we go, 19, the end of 1991. Here we go, where is this? No. Kafshin Nun. There it is. Here, Nun base. This was okay. Like I said, the Torah portion is the same. The dates were a little bit different than we have now. The dates. This was given on Shabbat, the last Shabbat of this month. So it was in the, very close to, let's see, was it Kaf Gimel Kislev, right before Hanukkah. Okay, our date here is a little bit earlier. It's a little bit more back, but it's still relevant to the same thing. The month of Kislev is the month with Yud Tes Kislev. Remember, we learned about that last week. And that's also the month of Hanukkah. And both of them are coming to try to inform us of what reality is and to encourage us to serve God accordingly. It's a little bit too red over here, isn't it? Maybe color, I think. Do it next week. Tomorrow. There's all these attachments. You can change colors. You can put all sorts of horns. You can make your face look like an animal. I'm not going to do that though. I don't think so. We'll see. Oh, here we go. These are from the speeches of Sharv's Parshas Vayeshev. Sabas Mavorchim Tevis. Dober Pamim Rabos. We have spoken many times. 1 second. Are we recording? 1 second. I don't know if we're recording here. No. Yes, we're recording. Okay. We have spoken many times, and especially recently, that according to all the signs, our generation is the one of Moshiach. It's the last generation of exile. And automatically that makes it the first generation of the redemption. In other words, take your pick. However you want to look at the world, either we're the end of all the problems or the beginning of all the solutions. Since we're already finished all the things of serving God, we fixed up the world, and we're all standing prepared for the true redemption by means of the Moshiach immediately. So like I say, you can look at the world and say the world is terribly confused. There's a lot of pain, trouble. People are getting sick. People are dying. What type of redemption is it? On the other hand, we can say, listen, God is making amazing miracles. Like I say, that they shot these missiles at us and nothing happens. 20,000 missiles, nothing happens. All of a sudden, all of Syria just fell down. The whole thing just fell down just one day from nowhere. Syria was a big enemy of ours. And little by little, the United Nations is being revealed to be a place of darkness and lies and evil. And the Jew hatred is, singling itself. It's identifying itself clearly in the world. People are very proud to hate Jews, and people you would never thought would come to be to the defense of the Jewish people, non-Jews, totally non-Jews. All of a sudden they become. I'm reminded of a story that there were some people in Germany that survived in the most amazing, and everybody that survived, anyone that says that they went through the Holocaust, it's a miracle. Anyone that was in the camps and they came out, I mean, you can look at it two ways. They saw death everywhere. They saw everywhere. On the other hand, it's a big miracle that anybody got out. So there was one person that he tells a story that they lived in Germany and they had a neighbor, a German woman that hated Jews, and she would spit every time that she went by there. So she would curse them out, curse the kids out. And then they started making all these decrees. So these people had to hide in their house. They had to hide. and they would, I guess, only come out in the nighttime. And this lady that hated them so much, and she didn't, first of all, didn't inform on them, and she would bring them food. She would bring them food, and she said, "Listen, I hate Jews. I hate the Jews, but I never dreamed it would come to this." She said, "I would never dreamed it would come to this, and that they would kill people, children, women." So suddenly she came to the defense of the Jewish people. Now we see there's all these people that are popping up, right? They're coming to the defense of the Jews, and they love the Jews, and they've got no logical reason to do so. So little by little, I mean, we'll hope that any second now the whole church will fall down with the Pope, with all this the terrible decadence and crookedness that's going on over there, hatred and just revealed, evil will stop, and people will just turn to God alone and just to worship the Creator who's creating them. So the world is says the Rebbe, the world is already ready for Mashiach any second now. Everyone will see the lies and the evil. I mean, all these the news outlets, whatever, people are starting to realize that they've just been fed lies all this time. It doesn't make any difference what the lies are about. They're just simple lies. And people are starting to realize what's going on. It's like we said it before, we're living in a dream. People that are supposed to be devoted to the truth and to honesty, and this is suddenly they themselves are doing the exact opposite of what and they're starting to realize what's happening. Okay. So the Rebbe says, now we are right at the edge of Mashiach. The whole world is soon going to drop all the religions. Soon they're going to drop all their false philosophies, drop all their hatred, and the whole world will come to just serve the Creator and want to be, creative themselves, not to be destroyers. So some people ask a question, how are you? GEULA Taluya. It says that the redemption depends that the whole entire world will be prepared for this. Not just one man, the Rebbe, or a certain number of people, Chabad Hasidim, and not even one part of the world, let's say all the Jews. The whole world has to be ready. That's what redemption is about. The whole world, everything that God creates will recognize its Creator. Everything that God enlivens will recognize where they're getting life from. That's what we pray for on Rosh Hashanah. Yodea kol pa'ol ki ata pa'alta, Yodea kol yatzur ki ata yatzarta. The whole world will recognize the God of Israel, the Creator that cares about everybody. Everybody. Sharia GEULA, because the whole redemption depends on gathering up all the Jews from the four corners of the world. V'gam also bebirun shel umus ha'olam, and also the refinement of the non-Jews in all of the lands. How do we see, Shoalim, people ask, Shine ba'olam, a change in the world? Says the Rebbe, the whole point of Judaism is to bring Mashiach. That's the whole goal of Judaism. Look at the Maimonides. I know we've said it a lot of times, but we'll say it again. Maimonides is this amazing, 14-volume book that talks about all of the laws of Judaism, everything. And right at the end of this book, with all the details, amazing details about the sacrifices and what's pure, what's impure, and these amazing laws. And the end of the book, the Rambam says, you finished learning this whole thing, right at the end, says you have to believe in the coming of the Mashiach. And if you don't believe the coming of the Mashiach and wait impatiently for him to come, then throw away all what you've learned. You just learned throw away all the 14 books, throw them all away. You're denying God, you're denying his Torah. Better that you just admit it, that you don't believe in anything. Maybe stop doing the commandments, just, right? The whole thing, you're on the wrong track. Right? It's like building an atomic plant to blow up yourself. The atomic plant is supposed to be to help people. The whole Torah is supposed to be to help. If you're not, that's what Maimonides says. Maimonides is cold, dry, clear laws. The whole purpose of creation is Mashiach. If you don't believe in Mashiach, then you don't believe in God, you don't believe in Moses, you don't do, I'm doing everything. Says the Rambam, no, you're not. The whole thing is Mashiach. So if so, says the Rebbe, Mashiach, the whole idea of Mashiach and the future redemption that he's going to bring, says the Rebbe, it's already happened. That's it. It's already here. All we have to do is open up our eyes. Says the Rebbe, what are you talking about? People ask questions. That depends on the whole world believing in God. We don't see the whole world believes in God. How can we see, Shina, that the world has changed? Sha'ulam keyom, today, Muchan is prepared more than it was in the previous generations. Says the Rebbe, Yuvan Zeh, we can understand this. The hektem atam, the klolos ishtauslos, mesiyasam shal bnei Yisrael, v'galus min makom l'makom. Let's understand, first of all, how it is that the Jewish people have wandered around from the beginning of the inception of the Jewish people in Egypt. I mean, you can even take it from Abraham. But when the Jewish people were born as a people, right? Before that, it was just one particular family, Abraham. Then they went down to Egypt. They became millions. No, what did they start doing? Wandering around. They wandered through the desert. They wandered there. They came to Israel. They were in exile. They went to Babylon. They got out. Now we're in exile for another 2,000 years, wandering around all over the place. Why did God do this? Why did God do it? Now, of course, there's always some people that say, well, the Jewish people sinned, and because of that, so they're punished. But which that's not so, because we were not put into Egypt. The Jewish people were born because of our sins. We didn't do anything wrong. God told Abraham, the Jews are going to be in exile. That's it. That's going to be part of it. The Jews are going to be in exile for what it says for 400 years. It says 410 years. It says 420 years. In fact, they were in exile for 210 years. That's how but they were in exile. That's how they were born. Why is it that Jewish people have to move from one place to another? Why? Even though Shapisu under the scattering of the Jewish people in all these different countries, Barachve Tevel in the whole world, like it says, Mafuzah or Mafura Beina Amin, the Jewish people. This is what Haman said to Achashverosh. The Jewish people are scattered all around the world. Who you read, this is a tremendous descent. The more that they're scattered around, the descent is greater. Omrim Chazal, the rabbis say, God said, it says that God is doing charity with the world and charity to the Jewish people, that he scattered them around the nations. What does this mean? How is it possibly beneficial to the Jewish people that we got scattered all around? And there's intermarriage, and there's hatred of the Jews, right? And the Jews were expelled from Spain. And I think, first of all, the Jews were expelled from England, I think. And then they were expelled from Spain. And then they were expelled from Portugal. Then they were expelled from France. Then they were expelled from the Jews are just kicked around from all places to place. I saw one person wrote, if all these countries expel the Jews, so it must be there's something wrong with the Jews. If everybody hates them, then we have to go according to the majority. There must be something wrong with them. No, a good point. Good point. And do it's known, the inner meaning of this is, this is because of Hamaila, the high quality, which comes by means of the service of the Jewish people in every different place. Asher aim yit that they dwell when they are in different countries. When Jews go into these different countries, England, France, wherever it is, so they become inspired. The better word, influenced. Influenced. But often, I remember the word simultaneously. That's what last class the word popped in. But often, mutar al pi halacha. According, the Jews get influenced and they change in ways which are, according to Torah, is okay. The minhag makom v'madina, and the customs of the place and the country. Right? Some countries, they wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Jews wake up 8 o'clock in the morning. You finish the day, this, you do that, right? Some people, they say hello in this way, they hello in that way. You meet the queen, you have to not shake her hand, you have to, every place is different. When, therefore, the Jews become influenced by these places, one big difference is the language. They use the languages of these places in a natural way. The kol makom in every single place according to its topic, the fi tchunato according to the nature of that place and the nature of the people that are in that place. Like the rabbis say, azla lekarta hilich l'nimusa. When you go to a town, you should act in the way that they act. You go to Mexico, people wear a sombrero, right? They eat the enchiladas, kosher enchiladas, but do what the people do. If it's according to the Torah, it only increases, it only adds on, enhances. The law is this is a main thing in the words of Moses. Of business. Holchim achar lashon b'nei adam ba'oto makom achar aminag. That in business you have to make your business agreement. You go according to the language of the people and according to the custom of the people. If the custom of the people where they are there, they make a down payment of 10%, you make a down payment of 10%. If a big custom is the people where you are, they say, okay, upkatan. Upkatan means it's agreed. Then upkatan means agreed. The word agreed does not mean agreed, right? Maskin doesn't mean maskin. Upkatan means that I agree. Whatever the language is, you make an agreement in Mexican, you go according to the language of the people, whatever the slang of that people is. The Ikar Agadol, it's a very important thing, is in business, you go according to the customs of the country. If it's not against the Torah, of course. Minage a Medina shel umas olam, of the nations of the world, asher im rov toshvei Medina's chutzlords, which they are, of course, the majority of the whole world and the majority of every country where the Jews are, in order to utilize minagim, these customs to serve God. Shahari kol masecha, that everything you do should be for the sake of heaven. The Rebbe said a lot of times, for instance, in America, they want to advertise everything. Everything has to be advertised. He says we have to use that according to the country. The custom of the country is to advertise everything. We're going to advertise. So that's one of the reasons that the Rebbe said we have to put Hanukkah menorahs, make big ones, advertise it, put it in the papers. This is not done any other place. To advertise Judaism, you go out and this is the thing you got from America. America, you advertise. You make. He says you can even exaggerate. How many people came to the thing yesterday? He says if there really came 100, write that there came 1,000. So that's what everybody knows. If you write 1,000, then everybody knows in the newspapers that there really came 100. If you read 100, people think there came 10. That's the custom of the place. Ad until Shazegam Yosef b'Torah mitzvahs. This adds on to Torah and the commandments. In the language of Chassidut, the Bir Maimer, what the rabbis say, Lo higla kodesh baruch hu, the Jewish people were only exiled among the nations, except to add to themselves converts. What does it mean, converts? Not human being converts. The sparks of holiness which are found in every place in the world. By Jews learning Torah in Kenya, that elevates Kenya. Right, by them doing a commandment in Baravia, so it elevates Baravia, Barbaria, wherever it is. Therefore, God took the Jewish people and scattered them around in all these different places in the world. This is in order to refine and to elevate, to refine and to clarify the sparks of holiness which are found in that place. What are these sparks of holiness? Everything in the world that has a use, that use is a spark of holiness. If you use it properly, then you're using it for what God wants. A pencil, money, shoes, a house. If you use those things the way God wants to, then you're using regular things and you're elevating the purpose of them to connect it to the Creator. Therefore, it says, therefore, God did a big charity, did a big favor to the Jewish people. They scattered them among the non-Jews, because by means of this, the Jewish people, mitosefet, it adds a mila, in their service of God, they refine the sparks of holiness which are found in even the customs of Kol Medina in every single country in the whole entire world. Mizeh, from this Muvanis, it's understood. Hamayla, because I'll tell you another example. I think I've told you the story a lot of times, but it's a short story. That there was one shliach, a Chabad Chassid, and the Rebbe told him that he should go to France and to open up a Chabad house. This is talking about 50, 60 years ago. And the Rebbe said, I'm giving you advice. This person didn't know anything about France. He didn't know his wife happened to be French, but he didn't know anything. So as the Rebbe said, the French people love a person who has a smiling face. You have to smile. That's what they like. There's other countries where they don't like a smiling face. You have to be serious. You have to do this or this. French people love a smiling face. And finally, he got himself in a very tight situation with money or whatever, and he had to meet this very seemingly anti-Semitic or anti-religious minister, a non-Jew. But he remembered what the Rebbe said, and he went in with a smiling face. And this minister said to him, you're different from all the other. I know other religious Jews. They're very serious. I don't like you have a smiling face. He said exactly the language of the Rebbe. The French people love smiling faces. I'm going to give you what you want. That's a simple example. You're in a place, you go according to the customs of the place. For this is understood that Jews, which are scattered around in many, many countries of the world, until a way that Ufras the Yom of Akedma, Tzafon of Anegba, in a way that they are scattered to the west, to the east, to the north, and to the south, like what Yaakov, the blessing that God gave to Jacob, that you're going to be spread out the whole world. It says, Dav Kali De Avodasam, by means of the service of the Jewish people in all these different countries in the world, in a way that they get involved in that country. Every single country, according to its customs and its ways, according to the Torah we're talking about, is by means of this, Shemit Yashvim and Megorim, that they dwell and they live in this particular country, Umit Nagim, and they act in ways that are permissible according to the Torah, the customs of that country. So a Jew, therefore, by means of this, can bring about birur v'zichuch, can refine that country, refine the country. The Rebbe wants, for instance, France again. We'll talk about it again here. That France, that was the big enemy of Judaism, big enemy of Chabad was France. It was France, and the Rebbe took the French national anthem, and he made a song from it. Took words from the prayers, and he said after that it changed France by taking the song of the French. He took that, like what's called the Marseille. He put the words to it. There's and the Rebbe said that it changed France. And right after that, we saw that the Jews in France started to become Baalei Tshuva, and the Rebbe said that the France actually changed part of the anthem. They changed a little part of it. Often in a way from below to above. So in others, the Jews, by being in a place, because Jews are the representatives of the Creator, by going into a place and using the customs of that place in a way that's permissible according to the Torah, is by means of that it elevates the place. Shall call makom v'kalkom, each and every place according to where they are, in a way that makes a dwelling place for God in the lower worlds. Tachton in the lower worlds, which is plural. Call tachton, each and tachtonim in low places, in places, each place according to its definition, which is not the case when we are found in a place temporarily. Oh, shemashpim sham makom acher, or you have an influence there from somewhere else, right? The Rebbe, for instance, he speaks in New York, and people can listen to it all over the world. Says, okay, that's good, that's nice, but it's not the same thing. Lo Paulim Sham, you don't have the same, I'd say, deep, lasting effect like you do when you live there in a permanent way and you act according to the customs of the place. Nosaf, in addition to this, it adds on that by means of this, when you succeed in spreading Judaism in the place where you are, like it says, the reason for these different customs in each and every place where you are, according to the Torah, between one country and another, is machmas hatchunos hamiyuchados shalamidina, because of the special nature and you say you got the makeup of the people in that country and the customs of that country, the atmosphere of that country, the place, the people of the place, the nature of the place. Some places are colder, some places are warmer. And therefore, when you act according to the customs of the place, a matim yoter, which are fitting to that particular place where you are, this brings special success. All right? A person, a Chabad person, stands up in France and he speaks very good French. It has a good effect on the French people, right? If he's in Germany, he speaks perfect German, it has a good effect on the German people. You feel that this person is, in some way, understands us. And therefore, Tzorech Yehudi, a Jew that's found in this place, he has to conduct himself according to the conduct and the customs of that place, not until that he needs to use and utilize the customs of wherever he is, the language of wherever he is, to serving God. Shahari al yadikach, by means of this, maybe it brings to Tosfos Haslacha an additional success, also in his service in the customs of wherever that place is. So we have success with the Jews in that place and with the non-Jews. Let's try a little different angle over here. Okay, good. By means of this, it brings also, on until that this itself, that the law is that you have to go according to the customs of the country. This brings about that the customs of the place go according to the customs according to the Torah. Kolomar, in other words, if it is no contradiction whatsoever to the Torah, the law of the Torah obligates a Jew that he has to go according to the customs of the place. For instance, like we said, in laws of business, in business, you're obligated to go according to the customs, whatever the customs of the place are in business. Right? If the custom is to sign your name here, you sign your name there. If the custom is to give a certain down payment, you give a certain down payment. Whatever the custom, the language of the place, you go to the language. If this word means a finalized deal, then it means a finalized deal. In this, in the customs of every place, there are two levels and two, what do you call it, two aspects. First of all, you go in a country and you speak in the language of the country, and as much as possible, you go according to the customs of the country, how people dress, how people act. I know in America, for instance, they wanted a speaker, a Chabad person. They have the Senate opens up with a benediction from some religious person. So they have different religions, and once in a while they have someone from Chabad. So you come from Chabad, you have to dress according to the place. You have to dress accordingly, right? You have to have a very expensive suit. You have to have whatever suit. You can't come dressed in a golf shirt or something. You have to go according to the customs of the place. Other places you have to dress informally. Where you want to talk, you have to dress informally. If you're not informally, then they think that you're afraid or what, who knows. Okay, so when you do go according to the customs of that place, according to Judaism, and if it's in tune with the Torah, so this has a big effect on the Jew, on that place, two ways. Number one, hapola penimius emetachton, shemachnisim kedusha, that you bring holiness even into the low world, lefi gedarav, right? You live in a place where they never knew that there was such a thing as making a blessing. They never knew there was such a thing as trusting God, saying thank God every moment. They never knew there was such a thing. And suddenly they see that you're an honest businessman and that you make an impression on people. People realize how close God is, how good God is. It makes an internal effect of a Dvar that this can be in a way that the lower world remains the way it is. It just, and you say, now we respect the Jews more. We respect Judaism. We didn't know what it meant. And afterwards, it has to be a higher type of a service. What? The place itself becomes a place of Torah and commandments. And take an example in America. In America, Jews came to America. At first, they were totally ostracized. If you didn't work on Shabbos, you couldn't find a job. And then little by little, they started to respect the Jews, right? Jews contributed. There was religious Jews that contributed. They respected the Jews. So the Jews were separate. Then it came that the Jews started having an effect. All of a sudden, there were people that they really respected the Jews. They started to understand what is the God of Israel. They started seeing that how dependent their religions are on the ideas of Torah, and they start to realize little by little that the truth that's in the religions comes purely from the Torah. The Judaism is not another religion. The Judaism is what God wants. And the others, they're religions. Little by little, it starts to, the place where they are starts to become changed, improved. Mostos, until they actually help to make institutions of Torah and prayer and acts of kindness, synagogues, places of learning. It becomes that the place itself shines godliness from below. It doesn't have to be affected by something else. The place itself starts to really support and agree with God, with Judaism, with the Torah, and even more. It won't be as though the place will act as though they are affected by, but often shemagalim at the maila shebetachtonas. Well, they start to realize that the world itself is really good. The world itself is really can be a helper to God, not an opposer. Shamakom nasa, that the place becomes a dwelling for God. Exactly, even more. The people of the place, they have an effect on Torah and the commandments from their own. Here we see now there's countries in the world that now all of a sudden they're starting to support Israel. They're supporting the Torah. They're supporting the commandments. Some places they're supporting the Torah and the commandments more than Israel, the Israeli government does, according to their customs, etc. of the place. Sheba'em mit yached makom zeh mimakomot acherim. One place becomes unique in its support for Judaism and its help for Judaism, in its adaptation of Jewish ideas and Jewish ideals. So we see that by means of spreading Judaism, by us being spread around the whole world, that it's having a basic effect on all of the nations of the world. We see this in Russia, especially. Whoa, in Russia, right? What is it? It's 80 years ago, 90 years ago. It was you had to worship God in secret. You couldn't make a minyan. And now you have especially Putin, but even before that, Gorbachev and Putin, they help Judaism. They respect Judaism. They help the institutions. They protect the institutions. Right? Like I said, that they allowed this huge Chabad center, beautiful Chabad center, it's like 5 stories high, with a huge, massive synagogue to be built right opposite the KGB headquarters in Moscow. On one side of the road is KGB, on the other side is, and they have KGB officers there, or the police that are guarding the door. They're guarding the door. So suddenly it's become that not just Judaism and acceptable, we'll hold our nose and we'll accept them. It becomes, oh, we're friends. It's a good thing. It's an integral part. It's an addition to the people, to the country, the godliness of Judaism, as we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. No, doesn't work. Okay.